Hey, this is Matt Whitmer from Broudy Precision. In this video, we are continuing our series on Niagara Basics, and we are going to be looking at the next extension that you will typically have on your points, and that is Histories. And we'll look at how you set that extension up, where the histories themselves live, and sort of the basics of making use of your histories. But before we do that, here's a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Broudy Precision, your trusted partner for building automation and controls. Now covering the entire East Coast from our Philadelphia headquarters with team members spread throughout our territory. At Broudy, we do things differently. Our Philadelphia warehouse is not just full of random product. We have thoroughly tested and vetted everything on our shelves, ensuring you can get in and out of your jobs as efficiently as possible and that we can properly support you should an issue arise, even if you're the first customer to use a new product. We're here to help you from start to finish, from product selection to technical support, with highly experienced team members in sales and engineering. We pride ourselves on giving our customers a tremendous set of resources free of charge. New to the Honeywell ecosystem? No worries, we offer customized training that meets you where you are and brings you up to speed. BP Tech Center, our software and documentation repository, was built in-house to keep you up to date with automated notifications on new software and important content releases from the vendors that you use, all available exclusively to Broudy Precision customers. In addition, our web store, with its real-time inventory, makes placing orders quick and easy so that you can get that order in even if it's 11 o'clock at night. To learn more, check us out at broudyprecision.com and store.broudyprecision.com. If you have specific questions or you would like a quote, shoot us an email at sales@broudyprecision.com or give us a call, 610-825-7200. All right, so as always, we are in our demo station that we are always working in when we're doing this Niagara Basics series, and we're going to be looking at our histories. So before we get into the extensions and how they actually work and how you set them up on points, I did just want to look at a couple little pieces of histories, special histories that will show up in your stations that you can access and you should know about because they give you a bunch of very helpful functionality. And that is underneath our history container here. If we open up our station, we can see that there are a bunch of histories here. They come in automatically when we build our station. The most important one here, the one that you're going to want to know about and use, is your audit history. Audit history is going to tell us about all of the changes that are made in a station and who made them and when they made them. This is something that goes hand in hand sort of with our security and how we set up our stations and how we add users and that kind of thing. Always you want to have your users have independent user accounts. Don't let people share users or usernames when they are working with a station because this becomes useless. So in my demo station right now, I just have an admin account. It's only me in the account. So I know admin equals Matt Whitmer. But it really should be a username like M. Whitmer to show that it's me that's doing the work. Because you can see here, all of my changes that I'm making show up attached to me in that username there. And then I've got a timestamp that shows me when it happened. Operation, was it an add? Was it an action that I took? So an invoked, did I change something? Did I remove something? And then it tells me what the object was in the station, and if it was a change or something like that, it'll show me the old value and the new value. This is super, super helpful. You definitely want to poke around in here and play with this because there are a lot of interesting things that you can do, and maybe we'll look at in the future, like, hey, what are all of the overridden points, or what is the override history for this particular unit, and who did the overrides and when did they do them? All of these things kind of become available to you with some querying and things on this particular history. Future video on that, a little bit more than a basic functionality in making that happen. So, but I just wanted to point that out. When you do open up a station, even if it's a new one, you will see these basic histories in there already. With that out of the way, if we open up our config container and go to services, you will also find in here a history service. This is going to tell us a bunch of information about our history extensions as we go and add them to our points. So let's do that now. So I'm going to jump into my playground where we've been playing for a while and messing around with stuff. And I've got this numeric writable that's being written to by a ramp. So it's got a value that's going up and down automatically. I don't have any sensors or anything hooked up to this station because we're just running it locally. So this gets the job done so we can see data moving around. So what I'm going to do is on my palettes, I'm going to open up the history palette. And inside the history palette, there's a whole bunch of stuff for more advanced kind of features. What we're concerned about with today is underneath our extensions, we've got a few different options. So we've got options for numerics, booleans, enums, and strings, and each of those have either an interval or a change of value. Interval would be every 15 minutes, I want to take a recording of what the value is of this point and write it into my history. COV would be anytime this point changes by this much, I want to record it. A lot of debate about which one you should use. I think right now it seems to be interval is the way to go if you can, and you know your value that you're looking at or trying to keep track of doesn't change a ton very quickly, then COV may be something worth looking at because you can record those changes no matter when they happen. So for this demonstration, we're just going to do COV because it's going to be easier for us to take a bunch of samples very quickly. Not a normal use case. Obviously, we're just playing around, but we'll get the job done. So let's open up our numeric writable into the property sheet, and then I'm going to drag out my COV and then hit OK. I'll open up my COV, and you will see that by default, it comes in disabled. And there's a whole bunch of options here. So first thing that we can see is obviously enabled, it's disabled. Our active period, we can choose if we only want to record histories on particular days or particular time periods. It's available to us. And then the most important thing in here outside of our change tolerance or how often we're recording the value is our history name. This makes use of what's called BFormat, which is a way of referencing different pieces of data on our point. So in this case, we're looking at the parent.name. If we had just name, we would just get the name of the extension. Now what we want the name of the point, which is going to be numeric writable in this case, and that's what this parent.name is going to get us. So our history will just be called numeric writable, and that works in this use case. For my change tolerance, this is where you're going to set what you want the value that you want to record after it changes over. So in this case, I will just do 5 degree Fahrenheit change, and we'll do a save. And then also, when you open up this history config, when you enable the history, which I will do now, you'll get an ID here that you can use to make sure that your history name is correct. So like I mentioned, this parent.name is going to get us just numeric writable as our history's name, and we can confirm that that's the case here. This ID is going to be where the history shows up underneath the history container in our station. So underneath history container, we've got our demo station, and then if I scroll down a bit, we've got our numeric writable here now. So if I double click on that, it will bring up a chart after a second or two in the HTML5 view here. And that view populates, and we can see that our value is going up and down and up and down and up and down because that's what the ramp is telling it to do. Now, once we get into PX, we'll be able to bring this numeric writable chart into a PX page. So embed it in a page that might have a whole bunch of other information about point values and what the unit actually looks like. If this was a point that was coming out of an air handler, say, that's all available to you as well. So now if I jump back into my history service, we can see all of our extensions that we have on all of our points. In this case, we just have that single extension. And in here, we can very quickly disable, enable, rename the history, and edit any tags that are on the history as well. So very handy if you've got a large system with a whole bunch of histories and a whole bunch of history extensions, making everything work. I guess the other thing to mention here is that audit history that we talked about before. We do have some configuration in here for how much of those audit histories we want to keep. Always be careful about your capacities, especially if you're on a JACE, that you're not overloading yourself and you're not carrying too much history data. If you need to do a bunch of histories and you need to be able to keep a bunch, you should look at using a supervisor in addition to your JACE and offloading those histories up to the supervisor at particular intervals so that you have significantly more space, obviously, on a computer than you do, say, on a JACE. So I guess I should show that here as well. If we go into our numeric writable, underneath our history config, there is this record capacity, and by default on a JACE, it's going to be 500 records. Depending on what you're recording, you shouldn't need to touch that. And the way it works is it will roll over itself. So as it approaches the 500 mark, or once it gets past the 500 mark, it'll roll off the first and then the second and then the third and then keep going and going and going so that you've always got 500 records and they roll based on what's available. So, very important little facet of using Niagara and managing your systems. Histories obviously have their benefits in making sure that you're controlling the building effectively, you're not wasting energy, you don't have things in occupancy when the building is unoccupied. All of that is available to you and very easily noticeable when you look at it visually in a chart. So highly recommend them. Plus, they have the added benefit of you making sure that your programming is set up in the way that you expect it to be and that you want it to be. Much easier to look at these things than maybe just to look at a number moving up and down. Seeing the whole picture for a larger period of time is very handy. So hopefully that was helpful and informative for you. Thanks as always for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If there's anything particular to histories that you'd like to see in more depth, there's a lot there, that additional features for organization and displaying them on your graphics and you name it, there's a lot there. And we can hit it all at some point in the future. If there's something in particular, leave it down in the comments. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.